We're back on Smells Like 90's Rock. Hot Toddy and DJ Poor. And what was it you
We were
wanted to
talking about
address?
movies.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about how risk isn't artistic risk is not necessarily rewarded in any industry, really. Movie
No.
industry, music industry, at least not nowadays.
No.
I
No.
think that show that I introduced you to, excuse me,
Which
Half in the
show?
Bag.
I have the bag,
Yeah,
yes.
I think they pulled up a statistic. I think it was for 2015. I want to say, like all major box office releases, like well over 90% of them were either remakes, rehashes, or just like something rebooted.
Or,
Like
yeah, like a big sequel,
yeah, or a big sequel.
like Star Wars.
Yeah, like Star
Yeah,
Wars.
Star Wars. But, yeah, I could see that. But, it's still the in thing, though, to do reboots and rehashes and stuff like that, or big sequels to stuff from the past. It's just,
Yeah,
this seems to be the big thing to do these days.
but why?
I don't-
It's kind of depressing, really. It's
Well,
like,
I was glad when they did a sequel to Dumb and Dumber. I didn't like it as
I
much.
was not.
I didn't like it as much as the original Dumb and Dumber. I thought it was kind of funny though, and but and then Star Wars, the new Star Wars movie came out and at the end of the year, and thank God it wasn't a prequel. Thank God Jar
thank
Jar was
God.
dead by that point, so we didn't have to go through that.
I wonder if they'll ever actually explain what happens to Jar Jar in like Rogue One. That's supposed to take place between episode 3 and 4, right?
Yes.
So I feel like they have to mention what happened to Jar Jar because he more or less orchestrated
Who did I
the
hear?
downfall of the Republic.
Who did I hear was going to be in Rogue One? It was going to be
Forrest
some-
Whitaker.
No,
He's-
no,
he
no,
is in it.
I know he's in it, but it was somebody connected to one of the characters in Force Awakens. I don't remember who it was going to be. I just read it today. I didn't read the whole article, but I heard it. Was
Adam
possible.
Driver, Daisy Ridley.
No, I mean, no, not them personally going to be in the film. It's like somebody connected to their character. It was-
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I don't one of their characters.
Isn't the girl somehow? I know what you're talking about. I can't.
Yeah,
The main character of Rogue One, the girl
Mhm.
is. I forget how but she is connected to one of the characters in the Force Awakens. I forget who
I just-
though.
yeah,
I
I
know what
can't
you're talking
remember.
about.
I can't remember, but I heard some fascinating stories about Star Wars: The Force Awakens last night
You did?
when I went to see Kevin Smith live at the Bijou Theater.
How was that?
It was an amazing, amazing, amazing show. Probably one of the one of the best shows I've ever seen.
Is it just like him doing stand up?
No, it's him telling stories and stuff, and then really the whole point of it is a Q&A show.
Okay.
So people will ask him questions, but his answers usually are like these long, drawn-out stories that somehow come back into the question that the person's asked, but it's never boring. I mean,
Okay.
everything is so interesting to listen to him talk about. It was just amazing. And what was interesting about that show was that I thought going into it to be like maybe an hour or so. When we sat down, all like the seating attendants at the Bijou were telling people as they were walking in, okay, this is going to be a 2 to 2.5 hour show with no intermission. So if you need to go to the bathroom or get a drink, I recommend you do it now. And I was like, wow, this is going to be an awesome show. But when the show actually went down, oh yeah, he hit 2 to 2.5 hours because the show went on for 4 hours. It was a 4 hour long show. Last
He
night.
talks for 4 hours.
He did his thing for 4 hours. We were there from 7:30 to 11:30.
Did you?
last night.
Was it well worth the money you
Oh
paid
God,
for
yeah.
your
That's
ticket?
what I'm saying. It's one of the best shows I've ever seen. And,
Okay.
We'll talk more about it here on the other side of this. Let's do the legal ID. We'll be right back. This is Smells Like 90's Rock.
Broadcasting from the shadows of Neyland Stadium on the University of Tennessee campus. Volunteer Radio is WUTK 90.3 FM, Knoxville, Tennessee.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
Did that.
I've seen one Kevin Smith film. It was Dogman. It was great.
Dogman.
I loved it.
I've seen Dogma, Clerks, Mallrats, Clerks 2.
I've seen Mallrats.
Jane Silent Bob Strike Back.
I have seen that one too. Never mind. I
Uh,
guess I've seen more than I thought I did.
Yeah, yeah, and
just haven't seen Clerks.
and I've seen Red State, which freaked me the frig out. That was a really weird film, but it really speaks a lot of the hardcore religious people of this
Red
nation.
State. I don't
Mhm.
think I've ever actually heard of it. Is it
It's-
like a mockumentary maybe or a
No,
documentary?
it's sort of like it's kind of like a horror movie. What it is, it's based around this like cult religious group, sort of like the Westboro Baptist Church.
Huh.
Only they're a lot more insane because they kidnap people and kill them. Kidnap gay people and kill them. the movie's really based around these three teenagers who get hooked up with a woman they think they're going to get to have sex with as they met her online. As it turns out, it was an ambush, and they get kidnapped, and then they get picked off one by one.
When was it made?
2011.
I've never heard of it.
It starred John Goodman, had Kevin Pollak. It's a really good film, but it's
I
really
might check that out.
It's really
Okay.
freaky, yeah. But it's really interesting. But yeah, that was a Kevin Smith vehicle, and there's been a lot of good films that he's done. But yeah, just listening to him was just fascinating last night. He talked about, because he's apparently good friends with J.J. Abrams. Didn't even know this.
I didn't know that.
And he got to visit the Star Wars set when they were in London. He talked about getting on the Millennium Falcon, and he said doing that transported him back to his childhood when he saw the movies.
Yeah, that's got to be like an out-of-body experience.
He said it was. It's like with every
Yeah.
step, it took years off of his life, going back in time, just reliving all that stuff that he saw when he was a kid and everything. And it was just fascinating stories that he told, and talked about all the podcasts that he does. My favorite podcast is on his website.
There's one he does of movie reviews. They're fairly lengthy.
There's a lot of movie review stuff that he does on his website. We'll go now to smodcast.com.
Smodcast? That's
Smodcast, as in Smith podcast. Smodcast.
The chronic blunt punch cometh.
Yeah. Well,
wow.
Yeah. Well, these are. Let's see. Let me go to the.
Babble the F on.
There we go. Here's the podcast that he does. Hollywood Babylon, Smodcast, which was the first one that started it all. Jay and Silent Bob Get Old. Fat Man on Batman. It's just all about Batman stuff. Edumacation with Kevin Andy. And Talk Salad and Scrambled Eggs. It's all about talking about Frasier. That whole podcast is about talking about Frasier.
Okay.
And then here's my favorite podcast, Tell 'em Steve Dave.
Tell him Steve Dave.
Yeah, with Brian Johnson and Walt Flanagan from the show Comic Book Man on AMC, and Brian Quinn from my favorite show, Impractical Jokers, on True TV. That's
pretty cool.
That's
Smodcast.
That's my favorite podcast, really, of all time, next to the Smoking Hot Toddy, of course.
What's